Another day, another story. The history of mankind is one continuous war. Of the last 3.5 millennia, planet Earth has lived in peace for only 292 years. That is, roughly speaking, for every day of peace there are 12 days of war. How many total lives have been taken, and why do people fight wars in the first place? It is a difficult question. We will try to answer it in the next few minutes, and at the same time we will think what the Earth would be like if people did not have a stupid and insane desire to kill their own kind. It will be sad, but very educational. Stay tuned and try to answer the simple question, why do people fight, in the comments. And we'll start with the fact that morally we are less evolved than animals. Lions kill zebras, crocodiles kills fish, and wolves kill hares, but none of them do it for fun. Animals just want to eat, and National Geographic magazine says the right thing: death for one animal, life for another. Lions may argue with cheetahs for more nourishing habitats and even fight, but they will not chase them with the express purpose of killing them. Only humans do that. But why don't scientists have a clear answer to this question? The closest approach has come from psychologists who have studied animal life. Jane Goodall, a chimpanzee researcher, studied apes for a long time and came to the conclusion that they, too, fight. Primates, just like humans, can kill for fun and experience a kind of excitement in taking a life. At this point, many will cite the example of cats, who kill mice for purposes other than sustenance. But it is important not to forget that cats are not endowed with intelligence. From the point of view of cats, they are just playing with a fluffy ball, and whether it is alive or not does not matter to them. But humans and the closest primates to them kill consciously. A simple analogy suggests that war is a consequence of the high intelligence of individuals. And it's partly true. Sigmund Freud explained war by aggression and the subconscious desire to die, Hegel by the laws of social development, and Lenin by the class struggle. But in our opinion, the closest to an answer are the classical psychologists. They claim that our brains are capable of compassion and empathy. People can experience other people's pain as their own and take murder for granted. Provided, of course, that they kill for an idea they believe in. Crocodiles and other predators lack such thinking abilities, and that's why we don't see a situation where all the tigers of Africa get together and go kill the tigers of Asia. Sounds logical enough, doesn't it? As for the human world, it has been accepted since ancient times that murder was a terrible sin. It was punishable in one form or another even at the dawn of mankind. For example, for premeditated murder in ancient Greece you would be executed, but there is a small caveat. If the murders were committed en masse, by large groups of people, they became acts of heroism, called military feats. Such was the amusing paradox of humanity. Religion, social and political systems in general do not deny the necessity to sometimes fight for a just cause. And almost all of humanity is in one way or another connected with the process of taking life from other people. From the same ancient Greek myths of the Spartans to the warriors of the brave Americans in Iraq. Humanity has shown no progress. Just as in ancient times, Neanderthals who killed another tribe were considered heroes, so now, those who took lives are rewarded and honored. We do not dispute that in certain situations it is necessary and deserves maximum praise and honor. Terrorists and other human garbage will not disappear, but they are only exceptions, and they have nothing to do with the fact that in the First and Second World Wars people killed each other by the millions, because the statistics is really horrifying. At least by its ambiguity. In printed publications can be found figures that for the history of mankind in wars killed 3.5 billion people. In such a statistic is weak to believe, for only in 1804 on Earth began to live 1 billion people, but nevertheless everything is possible. Jean-Jacques Babel in 1959 conducted a large-scale research and found that for 5,559 years the planet was shaken 14,513 warriors of various scales. Of course, not all of them were destructive. For example, in 1896 Britain declared war on Zanzibar and it lasted only 38 minutes. The Queen's army quickly stormed the Sultan's palace and captured the ruler. But Holland and the Scilly archipelago fought for 335 years, and not a single person died during that time. Such conflicts also went into statistics, but to claim that the numbers are too small is at least silly. Because the example of the Second World War, which according to the most conservative estimates claimed 40 million lives, is still fresh in the memory of mankind, and if you delve into history and assess what was going on in China, the hair stands on your head. In 1850, during the Qing Empire, the Chinese were at war with the colonizers who had taken over the country, and the number of victims of the conflict ranges from 20 to 100 million. A little earlier, when this same Qing Empire was seizing power, 25 million more died, and the giant empire of Genghis Khan was also built not on an even ground. 24 million square kilometers were conquered at the cost of 30 million lives. For a second, it is 7.5% of the world's population at the time, and pessimists even state that the warriors of Genghis Khan's era took 60 million lives, which increases the already insane figure. One does not want to delve even deeper into this topic. Many may justify the need for wars, but no one can argue with their colossal sacrifices, and it is worth raising the question: what would have happened if evolution had changed our minds, eliminating the need to fight? Pessimists instantly claim that the planet would be awaiting famine and overpopulation. The position of the classical proponents of war is simple. They explain it by resources, geopolitics, and other things. The trouble is that all this is invented just by the top authorities, who want and have always wanted to fight in order to expand their influence. After all, it is not for them to die on the battlefields. And science has its own opinion on the matter. According to calculations, the Earth is able to feed from 4.5 to 20 billion people. That is, even now, at the peak of population, we do not really exceed the limit. Now scroll through the news feeds of any group about science. NASA proved 5 years ago that Earth potatoes can be grown even in Martian conditions. Bill Gates has invested in the production of so-called test tube meat. Now think how many potential Mendeleyevs, Teslas, and Einsteins never found out about their genius because they died somewhere in a trench under the La Manche. We are not saying that humanity would be better off without wars. We are only saying that the expenditure on science of all nations is almost 10 times less than the expenditure on the army, and if we switch the numbers around, advanced technologies of renewable resources and artificial food might well have been commonplace. And so the question of food and resources would disappear, as well as the main argument of those who like to fight. Of course, we should not forget that in 2023 we live in our caves like our ancestors and look at the caves of other tribes with caution. Except that caves have been replaced by countries, and spears by high-tech weapons capable of incinerating people millions at a time. Every time you put food in the refrigerator. Remember that storing food in the cold places of caves was invented by our ancestors tens of thousands of years ago. Everything you see around you is not a revolution, but an evolution. We are only improving means of communication, sustenance, and killing. Unfortunately, humanity does not yet understand that a simple janitor from Australia can be a copy of you and share all your interests, while your neighbor will be the complete opposite. And as long as we spend billions on means of killing our own kind, humanity will continue its stagnation. See you again, friends. Thanks for watching.